there's a commonality, there's a common denominator amongst the people who subscribe to this red pill ideology. Not
Okay.
saying all, but I see a common thread.
Talk
And
about
that
it.
is somewhat of a hatred or a disdain towards women, right? And I also see, like, so you have this guy, Uncle Kevin Samuels, right? You know,
Just real quick before he goes into Kevin Samuels, hatred and disdain are words matter. Those are very different things. Those are very different things. But if we could talk about how certain dudes do have hatred and do have disdain that exists within the red pill space, that absolutely is the truth. But I think what he's more so referring to is this concept of red pill rage. Red pill rage. Red pill rage.
What's going on, guys? Today, we're going to be reacting to ARC versus MTR. Thoughts on Red Pill Rage, and we're starting right now.
Brim low on my fitted, dreams has always been vivid. I'm just trying to go get it, catch me right around and I'm ignorant, I'm just rolling.
Buy my t-shirt, little bit.
So tell them get on my level, ho. I'm burning up, see I'm hotter than where the devil go. It ain't enough till I'm burning down.
Shoutouts to Mediocre Tutorials and Review and Alan Roger Currie. I've done previous videos on them before, so much love to them. Now, when I seen MTR say that every man should go through a red pill rage phase, I was like,
What the hell are you talking about?
and I decided to make a video on it. And while scripting it, Alan Roger Currie dropped a video talking about it as well. So
Let's get ready to rumble!
let's hear from MTR first.
Without further ado, certain dudes do have hatred and do have disdain that exists within the red pill space. That absolutely is the truth. But I think what he's more so referring to is this concept of red pill rage, which I've gone over ad nauseum on the channel before, even talking about me overcoming my red pill rage when I lived a life behind rose-colored glasses, and then I had the rug ripped from out of me, and the rage that I felt when understanding, like, oh, people are not as truthful as me. Like, I did it. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm just like, wait a minute. People lie like that? Like, it blew my mind. It absolutely blew my mind. But that rage that I felt, right, without understanding the benefits of therapy at the time, that rage that I felt when I was just like, wait a minute, how much of this has been a lie throughout my life? I felt, and I still think, that it's necessary for men to go through. Now, what I don't think is necessary is to stay there.
I don't think men should go through a red pill rage phase if they can help it. Yeah, it's important to learn about female nature, but would you rather learn about it by going through a rage phase? Or would you rather they have fun learning about it through a hoe phase?
I'm a slut. What's up? Get me lit.
See, I believe every man should go through a hoe phase before they enter a serious relationship, because that's the only way to learn how to vet a woman. I learned about female nature through the hoe phase, dating married women, girls with boyfriends, strippers, all of that taught me how to vet a woman, and it taught me about female nature without me going through the red pill rage phase. So I never disliked women.
Now, what I don't think is necessary is to stay there. But that rage creates the burning platform for change. And I think that it's necessary. So, just being honest, during that time that I was red pill rage within my life, would I say that I had a disdain for women? Yes, I absolutely did. And it came off in very self-destructive ways. Hatred? No. But disdain? Absolutely. How did it show itself? I was getting like viscous innards from women that were in relationships, and I knew that they were in relationships, but I just didn't care because my disdain for them made me want to see if it was all a lie. And once that truth was confirmed to me, because they were doing these things to me, and I'm just looking at them with disdain and disgust, because I'm just like, what part of the game is this?
See, through my whole phase, I learned that this is a part of the game. I did well with women at a young age, and so did my friends. So I didn't know anything about this red pill rage phase. And I would often question if it was even real, but it is.
This is where red pill rage is real, Aaron and others. Here's two general situations that will usually cause a man to experience red pill rage. In some cases, it can be temporary. For a lot of guys, it's just temporary. It might last a few days, a few weeks, maybe 2 or 3 months. And then they transition out of that stage. And then other guys remain there almost permanently, indefinitely. I tend to refer to guys who remain in a red pill rage state indefinitely as black pill. Now, of course, I've gotten a lot of art debates about that definition and description. Some people have criticized me for that definition and description, and they offer an alternative definition and description for what it means to be black pill. They're entitled to their opinions. I'm sticking to my own opinion.
Okay, ARC, what's the first reason men go through a red pill rage phase?
Number one, I've already alluded to it. See, there's a lot of guys, and I talked about this in that video I did about when I talked about Sigmund Freud and the Madonna horror complex earlier this year. See, here's what a lot of guys like to do. A lot of guys like to neatly put women in 2 convenient categories, which is either prudish, monogamy-oriented good girls that they feel more than qualified to be someone's wife.
ARC's videos are unedited, and unfortunately, this new generation has a short attention span, so I cut it up.
It's 2 types of women that generally tend to fall in the good girl category. Would be women that are virgins, or if not virgins, women who have only indulged in sex with a man who was their husband, fiance, or long-term boyfriend.
Fellas, I don't judge women, so when I have conversations with them, they tell me the real number of partners they've had. See, most guys are really judgmental, and it shows, which is why women lie to you.
A lot of men in the manosphere, they believe if a woman has engaged in casual sex, short-term, non-monogamous casual with the sex with a man 2 or more times, that she's either a slut or at least a borderline slut who's not really worthy of being a man's long-term girlfriend, fiance, or wife. Because they judgmental than a motherfucker.
I've heard a lot of guys say under 5. I've heard some say under 10. And I laugh when men say it because, like I said, I talk to women. So what are the 2 categories?
Good girl or slut. Good girl or slut. Good girl or slut. When the reality is there's women that are shades of gray in between those 2 extremes. Most women are neither one of those.
So true. Break it down, ARC.
And again, I talk about that in my book, Who Said Again. On my scale from 1 to 5, if a good girl represents a 5 and a highly promiscuous slut represents a 1, then most women in society are 2s, 3s, and 4s. 2s, 3s, and 4s. And it's those women that cause men, Aaron, and others to experience red pill rage. Basically, in my numerical terms, if you meet a woman and you grow to assume that she's a 5, only to find out later that she's a 2, 3, or 4, that's when you're going to experience red pill rage. The second most situation that causes a man to experience red pill rage doesn't have to do with a woman's degree of promiscuity or her willingness to indulge in casual sex, but more so her choice of men. This kind of relates to Elliot Rodger. If you read Elliot Rodger, that mass murderer, his manifesto, he had a problem with beautiful, blonde, Caucasian women on his college campus preferring poor black men over rich white men. And there's a lot of men who do, including some guys not only here in the manosphere, but more specifically here in the black manosphere. I can call out at least minimum one guy by name, but for right now I won't. But I remember, man, a guy who's fairly well known in the black manosphere, he called into my Blog Talk radio show one time and basically said that. We were talking and he said, I was a guy who was brought up to believe that if you studied hard, made good grades in school, was college educated, established a good career for yourself, and had good morals, values, ethics, and integrity, you would have your pick of the litter of beautiful, sexy, intelligent women. He said only to later find out that a lot of beautiful, sexy, intelligent, college-educated women, some of them end up with, as he called it, Day Day and Pookie and Ray Ray, all them street names that guys like to give. And he basically said, that pissed me off. And I said to this brother, I said, here's your problem, man. None of the desirable qualities that you say you possess had anything to do with getting a woman's pussy wet.
Okay, Alan, now I definitely can't monetize this video. Yeah, I don't think any man should go through a red pill rage phase if they can help it. So I disagreed with MTR on that, but I did find this clip that allowed me to understand where he's coming from.
As a black man, it really took that experience to get outside of who I was to really understand what are the things that I want to do. What are the things that I want to be? That I need to be inherently selfish to build myself up to the best that I can possibly be and work damn hard at it. But let me tell you how this rage really saved my life, because I no longer became reliant. I no longer felt like I had to look to others for advice or affirmation or confirmation. But I knew that I needed to have everything within my own self to define who I am and where I want to be. And I'm thankful that the internet wasn't as prevalent with these videos online, because I did my own self-introspection in order to figure that out. The reason why I say that is there's a lot of creators out there that will try to sway you and put a picture of reality on a situation that is not true. It's an opinion, but we forget that and we lose sight of that. Now, you guys already know I'm a little bit more of a balanced reviewer, even though some women may not say that, but I'm much more of a balanced reviewer than what you see on the internet from time to time. What I also see happening is the same thing that you see on a CNN or a Fox News. You'll get certain content creators that will only report on men doing bad things over the internet. You'll get others that only report on women doing bad things over the internet, and only boosting up men or only boosting up women because they're trying to appeal to their audience. The only thing that I have to say to that is you need to be careful. I find myself falling into it. I am not perfect as well. And I think a lot of what I've fallen into has begun to affect those that come onto this channel. But one of the goals in the channel, as I talked about it before, is discussion-based content to inform the culture forward. It just so happens that a lot of that content is on dating and relationships, which involves both of the sexes. At the end of the day, we are not going to become better the farther apart that we are. And there's a lot of incendiary language on both sides of the coin that do nothing more than bring us farther apart. I really don't feel as though incendiary language helps push us forward. There's no leadership in that. People will not follow you unless you try to seek. Understand, there's far too much of us that seek prove a point. Listen, here's my final point to all of the red pill ragers that are still going through it. I feel for y'all. My heart goes out to y'all. Not only do I feel for y'all, but I see a lot of components of my old self within the messages that you write on my comments and the messages that you send in my email. Now, irrespective of if we agree or we disagree, what my goal is that one day we can find a commonality. We can find a common bond. Because I really and truly believe there is no leadership in telling the other side how ridiculous that they are. There is no leadership in commanding others to follow your ideology. There is no leadership in shaming others because they don't understand components of life that you recently learned. What I see on the channel a lot from a red pill rage perspective is a lot of examples of projection. It's uncomfortable when you see your former self or you see examples of how you used to think. Don't let that stop your leadership journey. Don't let it impede it. Grow from it. Seek to educate, not to condemn.
Yeah, MTR, that was deep. I agree with that 100%. Always remember, you will grow through what you go through. So if life takes you down a path that leads you to red pill rage, I hope you learn from it and grow from it, like MTR did. But anyways, if you like this video, check out my Mode 1 Approach Does It Work video. I'm out.